Buying land is not always the problem. Buying land safely is what is crucial. And in this video today, I'll be educating you on 10 questions that you want to ask each time you want to buy a property here in Cameroon. So let's go. This is your real estate consultant and land banking expert, Kingsley in the green corridors and axis of Boya in the southwest region of Cameroon. So the first thing you want to ask when you see a property and you want to buy is the documentation. Documentation is very important. Documentation helps you and guides you to make sure that that property is legal and that property is available for sale. Dr. Charles Akopi said, proper documentation prevents argumentation. You will not want to settle dispute on a property that you bought with your hard-earned money. So always make sure that you do your due diligence when it comes to documentation in purchasing a property. The next thing you want to check out for is ownership. Ownership is very important. When you want to, especially when you want to buy a private property, right? If somebody advertises a private property to you, always ask them this question: where is the document of attorney or the contract for sale? Yes, if the person is not the person who owns the property, they need to show you this document that proves that the owner has given them the right to sell the property, not to transfer the property, to sell the property. The next thing you want to check out for is what extra fee will come after payment of the property. Okay, actually in Cameroon, real estate company, they sell their property without the cost of documentation. That's what always happens here. So, but some people do not discuss that, right? So at the end of the day, the client will be like, no, you do not tell me this. No, we cannot take this. So you always make sure you ask the question, after I pay for this property, are there additional costs I need to pay for, so that you know, and it saves you from having problems and dispute with your seller. The next question I want to ask is, when will allocation and transfer of document be done? Because when you buy a property, that's the first step. When you pay for a property, right? The next thing you need to do is allocation, right? Allocation is when you're taken to the property and you're shown your boundaries using your site plan, that this is your property this way. That's allocation. And transfer of documentation is when the documents now are signed in your name. You need to ask, when would this be done after payment? Will it be a week? Will it be 2 days? Will it be 1 week? You need to be sure that you know when allocation and transfer is done by asking the person who is selling that property. On to the next question. Can I inspect the land before paid? Very important. If somebody refuses inspection, you run. You need to inspect the property so that you take note of the topography, the accessibility, the security of the neighborhood. Very important before you get to pay for the property. No inspection, no payment. Very important. Never forget this. Those are the things that you use to judge if you are to invest in that property that is shown to you or not. What's the next question that you ask? Follow me. Can my lawyer and surveyor verify the documents? Very important. Ask your person, the documents are on ground. Can I send my lawyer and surveyor to verify the documents and the site plan that you have, so that I know that the documents are legal and the site plan is also legal? If they refuse, and then that's a red flag. You need to stay off that property, because anybody that comes legal will not have any problem with you checking out their documents and verifying the legitimacy of that document. You can also ask, what happens if there's a default in instrumental payment? Maybe you want to buy the property and you want to pay instrumentally. I'll make a video talking about instrumental payment so you learn. But if you have to pay instrumentally, you have to ask the person, what happened on default? If you don't meet up with time, what are the things that happen? Are they going to cut 10%, 25% from my initial deposit? You need to make sure you know those things, so that you should be prepared for it. The next thing, which is the 8th question already, is, are there disputes? It might sound funny, right? But you just need to ask, does this land have dispute? There might be an honest man there and you'll be like, okay, yes, there are disputes. You need to settle the farmers. You need to settle the person that wants to work this property, so so that you will not be embarrassed when you want to go to your property and people start coming and attacking you. You need to ask, are there dispute? Some people will be like, the question is not necessary because the people might not be honest. You don't know. Just ask. Don't stay quiet. Don't assume. Just ask, are there dispute with this property? The ninth question you want to ask is, are there documents to show agreement of payment? If there are no documents, you run, especially the receipt of acknowledgement showing that you've paid for that property. It needs to be issued to you immediately after payment. If they say there are no documents to show the agreement, then you don't buy that property because they don't want to give you proofs to show that you've paid for the property, and you don't want to risk it on maybe basis of friendship and family or so. You don't buy that property. And the next thing is, when do I get the complete copy of my documentation? It's very important. When would everything be transferred to my name and I have my documents? You need to ask them, so that when you're engaging this, you're engaging with a clear mind. You know that these are things I need to ask, and I need to be clarified with these things before I engage. And the last one, which is a bonus, you ask them, how much would it cost for me to put a fence around my property? You ask them, so that you know that you can secure your property immediately after purchase and you can start saving for it. I believe and I know that this video has blessed you if you have followed up to this point. Make sure you implement these things. Take a book, write them down one after another, and of course, do well to subscribe. And of course, if you're looking for properties to engage and to purchase here in the Green Corridors and Axis of Boya in the southwest region of Cameroon, you can always hit me through the numbers on your screen, and we can guide you to secure properties that will appreciate over time. And of course, we'll have all these questions already answered for you. I remain your real estate consultant and land banking expert in the Green Corridors and Axis of Boya. Of course, stay blessed and take care of yourself. See you in the next video. God bless you.